Before there were maps, there were two worlds. The world you know, and the shining realm of Kaf, hidden just beyond it. A kingdom of fairies and giants and magic. On the night he was born, an emperor 1,000 miles away woke from a dream. A black crow that stole his crown, and a bright hawk that flew out of the west to win it back. And the wise men said, "That hawk is a child, and he will shake the thrones of the world." That same night, the fairies of Kaf carried the sleeping baby across the sky. They blessed him, and they touched his eyes, so that nothing hidden could ever hide from him again. His name was Hamza. He would become the bravest champion the world had ever seen. Strong as a lion, a warrior against 100 armies, a prince who lost his heart to a princess, and at his side, the cleverest trickster who ever lived. Amar, a thief of 1,000 disguises, and the truest friend a hero ever had. Together, they crossed burning deserts and enchanted mountains. They faced sorcerers and giants and dragons and the demon armies of Kaf. They saw wonders no eye had ever seen. Thrones that flew, cities of gold, gardens that bloomed in the dark, courage, magic, love, and laughter. One of the greatest stories ever told, carried for 1,000 years. And now, it is yours. This is the Dastan of Amir Hamza. And when at last the dividend came due, it was not gold that the fairy realm asked for. It was the investment itself. Forever. For the war was won. The devs were broken. The throne of Shapal stood unburnt. And all the crowned heads of Kaf came in their tribute ranks to lay their gratitude at the feet of the one human who had saved them. And their gratitude closed over Amir Hamza, the way a ring setting closes over a stone, slowly, and from every side, and without one edge ever looking like a wall. It began with a perfume-orange. The old vizier, Abdur Rahman, came before Hamza, bearing it upon a cloth of silk. For that, in Kaf, is how a king offers a royal daughter in marriage. And Hamza, courteous and cornered, tried to set it aside. He spoke of his vow. He spoke of Mihunigar, waiting for him in the world he had left. He spoke of the road home. And the vizier, kindly, learnedly, in the gentlest voice you ever heard, gave him the reasoning that this whole tale has never quite forgiven him for. "A vow sworn in the realm of the world," he said, "binds in the realm of the world. Kaf keeps its own ledgers, Sahib Kiran. Wed here, and your earthly word stays whole. The king's honour is saved, and the road home opens all the sooner. And you must understand, children, no one lied to him. Kaf never lies. It simply measures with its own ruler." Hamza stood there doing the terrible arithmetic of it. To refuse was to insult the very king who owned the only road home. To accept was to break no oath at all, and every meaning of one. And so he accepted. They made the wedding a marvel. And in the middle of the vows the gates burst, and a white dev with 400 raiders came howling for the emir's head, sent by a lord named Samandun, in vengeance for a demon Hamza had slain. Mark that name, children. Samandun. The tale will want it again. And Hamza, in his wedding clothes, without heat, almost politely, excused himself, went out, killed the champion with a single dagger stroke, and came back to the dais scarcely creased. The awe of Kaf deepened, and so did the lock upon the cage. The marriage was made, and on the face of his bride Asman Pari, as she took her vows, there was nothing but joy, pure, entire, undivided joy. Do not doubt that she loved him. Everything that is to come depends upon your not doubting it. A daughter was born to them. They named her Quraishah, and Hamza, I will not hide it from you, was cast down at that cradle, for he had wanted his line to run home to Mecca. But the
first time that infant closed her fist around his war-scarred finger and would not let go, he was a father, in spite of himself, and lost. And then began the errands. Always one more thing. A pair of rebel devs, Karchal and Karpal, put down in an afternoon. A tributary province in revolt, a champion to be answered. And every single task was bought with the very same coin. And then Sahib Kiran, then the road home. And beside his armour on the table lay the bread bun and the flask that the green traveller Kiza had given him long ago, against the day of his greatest need. And with each passing year, children, that bread and that water grew thinner, more faint, more nearly gone. The years did not pass in his face, they passed in the props, and he dreamed of Mia Nigar, grey now and wasted, waiting at a window he knew, grown old with waiting. And he woke from that dream weeping, and weeping he woke his wife. "Who is she?" said Asman Pari into the dark. And when he did not answer, "Is she more beautiful than I am?" And grief made him cruel. "I will keep the cruelty. It is his, and it is hers, and neither of them is spared it. Her maids," he said, "are more beautiful than you." And the whole marriage detonated in a single breath. She threw her lineage against his. He threw his against hers. And, children, this is the most shocking thing in the whole long tale, and I will not soften it. A husband and a wife drew steel on one another. Actual blades, both of them. And the fairy ladies of the court threw themselves between and dragged them apart by main force. And then the two stood there, staring, appalled at what they had become. Shapal himself came to judge it. He scolded his daughter. He granted Hamza his leave to go. He assigned 4 devs and a throne litter, and this is Kaf to the last inch. He demanded a written receipt of safe delivery, and at the leave-taking, Asman Pari played the last honest card she had. She put the child Quraishah into her husband's arms, and Hamza kissed his daughter and gave her gently back and boarded the litter and went anyway. And you could watch, in that moment, her love finish turning into something colder, if honesty will not keep him. And so the skies themselves were poisoned against him.
For she bribed a fairy named Salasil. Yes, children, the very one who had once given Hamza a saving tablet. In Kaf, even the kindnesses have owners, and the 4 devs set his litter down in a white-hot waste to hunt, and never came back. Days went by. Thirst went by. He dug into a dune for a little coolness, and the whole hill of sand came down and buried him alive. And he lived only because the vizier's geomancy saw him under the earth, and the old king himself rode out at the head of the search. And when they charged Asman Pari with it, she would not so much as blush. "I volunteered for the search party," she said. "Did I not?" He tried again, and this time it was the very land that was enchanted. For every day's march, at dusk, brought him back to the same campstone he had started from. Round and round and round. He broke it only by water, a spear drawn from a riverbed where it had been anchoring the storms, a raft poled across, 7 magic wolves whose skins became his winter cloak. And still, the marvels of that place carried him not out, but deeper in. Kaf's map is a ring with no edge. By now you should trust no map at all, and then the cruelest turn of it. A demon named Arnaris offered him a fair bargain, at last, between 2 desperate creatures. "Fly me home," said Hamza, "and I will win you the fairy Lanissa, whom you love." And it was done. A wedding brokered by the one man in all the worlds who could not get home to his own. And that very night, in a jewelled fort, while the newlyweds rejoiced, Asman Pari came down upon them in her red robes, her colour of rage, children, learned to dread it, with an army, Anais and Lanissa were beaten and chained and thrown, living into the dungeon of Solomon, and a proclamation was nailed across the whole sky of Kaf. Whoever helps the Amir leave shares that cell. And Hamza waited 3 days at the meeting stone for a friend already lying in the dark, and a green light found him there, and a voice within it, gentle and grave. She has buried them, Sahib Kiran, it said. Your road is not closed, but it is longer than your grief, and it runs through hers. Endure. Remember those 2 prisoners, children, chained together in the dark and still alive. Kaf, in its cruelty, was breeding the very thing that would one day undo it. But do not ask me how tonight. So count with me what victory had paid him. A king's gratitude, spent. A wedding, endured. And a daughter, loved entirely. That is the trap set inside the trap, that even a prison will grow things you cannot bear to leave. Sleep now. The lamp is low. 12 years are gone, and far away, on the walls of a fort in the world he left, a princess is about to ask a certain thief the one question he has been dreading for 10 years and more. Tomorrow I will take you there.